I am in the United States on my EB3 green card. I've been at my employer for 2 months and I don't like it here. If I leave, how will I be affected from an immigration perspective?
Well, I think there's a couple things to keep in mind. Number one is you may have an employment contract, and there may be implications for you leaving an employer before that employment contract is up. So that's one implication that I think is significant. I think we have to understand that contracts are promises. There are requirements that must be met by you. There's also things and promises being made by the employer on those contracts. They're saying they're going to pay you, 12 bucks an hour. They've got to be paying you 12 bucks an hour. You say you're going to work for a period of time, there are likely consequences for failing to do that. That's on the employment side. On the immigration side, how it could affect your case is if the USCIS at some point determines that you never intended to work for that employer, that you simply were using that employer as a way to get here to the US, and that as soon as you got here to the US and got your feet settled down, you were leaving that employer and that was your plan. And that can be determined by a lot of things. A lot of times people post things on social media that maybe they don't think anyone's going to look at, that ultimately the USCIS will look at. So there are things, and then in a case like that, you could be charged with fraud, and you could then have your green card revoked. So I think you want to be very cautious, particularly with such a short period of time. If you've only been here in the U.S. 2 months, you probably haven't even been working very long because you had to get your social security number and get your license finalized. And so you probably haven't even been at an employer more than 5-6 weeks, probably at most. And so it would look extremely suspicious in my opinion. So there are definitely risks in what you're proposing.
Thank you, Mike. And I think from our side at Connetics, what we always say to both nurses and employers is you have to think of that when you sign up to go to a specific employer, think about that as a marriage. You want to ask all the questions before. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable and that you feel secure in understanding where that employer is based, what their offer is, what do you know about the state or the location. So you want to really take that very seriously. This is a big commitment, both from the employer side and from the healthcare worker side. And thinking of it like as a marriage is really a good way of viewing it, because as Mike says, there are a lot of both immigration and financial implications if you were to leave, especially in such a short space of time.